Hello, everybody, and welcome into another episode of Prospect Corner here at the Hockey Writers. I'm your host, Matthew Zator, and as always, joined in by Peter Baracchini and Dayton Reimer. Dayton, how's it going?
It's good. Yeah, it's. I know I always talk about the weather because it's winter. That's what I do. Warmed up, so it's kind of nice. Like get to enjoy a little bit of sunshine now instead of just being locked indoors. I can't remember if I mentioned last week, but we were down to like minus 35 before calculating wind chill. So that was some cold weeks.
It's been pretty cold, I think, throughout Canada, except for it seems like my area here. We're like 10 degrees, 11 degrees. It's a very weird. I don't know. It feels like we're in a different country or something. But yeah, it's not been winter here. Really not at all this year yet. Peter, how's it going?
Yeah, let's continue to talk about the weather. I'm doing good. For Dayton, I think we got your deep freeze, but even so, the last 2 weeks we have gotten like 60 plus centimeters of snow. So that is definitely not fun. I kind of want spring and summer right now, so I am completely done.
Yeah, it's still winter for a bit here, and of course, as we hit January, well, we're close to the Olympics now. We got Winter Olympics coming up in about a week or a bit. The hockey, of course, doesn't start until the second week, but women's hockey starts right away. Lots of so we're still gonna have some hockey to watch. But for prospects, they're still running through their junior seasons and all that stuff. They don't pause for the Olympics. They're keeping going. So we'll still have that. And of course, the draft is coming up pretty quick, and our preparations already started. We're getting the prospect profiles are going to be starting to come out after the trade deadline and the Olympics and all that. But they're being written as we speak, I'm sure. But we're going to do our first mock draft of the season. I don't think we've done one yet. And we're going to do a top 10 to start, as we did last year. And did the randomizer, and it's only 2 people in this one. But Dayton, you got to be able to do the first overall pick. I didn't run the lottery. We're just going to go by points percentage. And the Canucks, who are really the worst team in the league right now by quite a bit, unfortunately. But they have a real good chance of getting the first overall pick this year. That's if the draft lottery cooperates with them. But for our purposes, they are the first overall pick. So, Dayton, who are the Canucks picking for their first time ever getting the first overall?
Yeah, making history. They have had a lot of success, I think, with Swedes. So I would go Ivar Stenberg. Not just because he's Swedish. I think he is the most dynamic prospect, the most well-rounded prospect available in the 2026 draft. He maybe doesn't have as high of a ceiling as a Gavin McKenna, but you could put him in the lineup probably next year. He is ready to go. He plays a professional level game. He is going to be a first line center. He looks like he could be an all-star. I don't know if, that's a guarantee, but that's sort of where we're looking at his ceiling, and he can do it all. The Canucks need somebody who can do it all. Really improve that forward line and kind of have somebody new to build around. I wouldn't call him generational, but he is somebody who could really stabilize a first line and team something to work with that you really could put anywhere.
Well, I mean, the thing is, the Canucks need centermen. Unfortunately, there are no real top centermen for the first overall pick, unless you go way off the board and pick Tynan Lawrence, which has been talked about in the circles here, that they're interested in him. But I don't think that would be a good pick for first overall. It's Ivar Stenberg is, of course, Canucks are really high on Swedes. They have drafted a lot of Swedes over the last few years. And of course, the Sedins way back in 1999 with the second and third overall picks. That's the highest they've been. That was the last time they were in this realm. They actually held the first overall pick, but they traded that away to be able to have 2 and 3. Ivar Stenberg would be, I'm debating between him and McKenna as the first overall. It's kind of interesting to see it's kind of hard to say with chemistry. It's like, would he be good with Pettersson? Guaranteed Pettersson's not even going to be here when this first guy is going to be in the lineup. There's talk he's going to be traded. So it's, Stenberg would be a real good pick for the Canucks as well. And I do agree with his NHL readiness as well, which I'd be okay with Stenberg going first overall to the Canucks for sure. All right, Peter, second overall, the St. Louis Blues hold this for our mock draft here. Who are they picking?
This is really tough because the Blues can go either way, really. I know they got Adam Jiricek as the right shot defenseman, but Keaton Verhoff is right there for the taking. And how great would that be? And most of the time, I always go for the safe bet. So that would most likely be Gavin McKenna. But I'm going to go crazy right now. I'm going to say Keaton Verhoff. When are you going to find that opportunity to have two stud right-handed shot defensemen on your team? And the projection is going to be top pairing. Same with Adam Jiricek, but both of them on your right side. What team can say that they have two right-handed shot defensemen that have the upside and potential to be absolutely dangerous offensively than those two guys right there? Jiricek had a fantastic World Juniors, and Keaton Verhoff looked really good. Some concerns here and there, but you know what? He continues to climb the rankings as a top defender right now. And Chase Reed is not going quietly. There's a possibility that he's going to be battling and probably pushing him out as well. But right now, Verhoff for the Blues just makes him a whole lot more solid on the right side. That way they have a number of options that they could go with other picks later on too. Yeah, they easily could have gone Gavin McKenna, but to go right side with Verhoff and Jiricek for the future, that to me is so enticing that you just can't pass up on.
Well, I mean, the Blues, they don't have the strongest prospect pool for defense, and that's the thing. And like you said, it's to have two guys like that on your top, for the future, that's a pretty good. And Verhoff's not, going to be a generational number one defenseman like Matthew Schaefer, but he's still going to be a really solid top pairing guy. So I think that's a pretty good pick for St. Louis as well, just for their needs and the fact that, he's sitting there, and they do have a lot of pretty good prospects in the forward group right now. So yeah, Verhoff's a pretty good pick for second overall. All right, Dayton, Calgary Flames. They're, now Gavin McKenna's dropped to number 3 here. Are they going Gavin McKenna? Who's...
100%. I think they would race up to the stadium or the stage if McKenna is available at this time. I think he very well could be. I think Verhoff is an awesome second overall choice. The Flames need star power. They don't have Rasmus Andersson anymore, so a defenseman would make sense. A defenseman's not going to come in and make an impact immediately. And maybe McKenna doesn't either, but he has that high-end ceiling. He can be a potential star. He's got a lot of work to do to get there. That game has to get rounded out, but he is an incredibly productive player. He knows how to move the puck. Like, what was he getting compared to? Patrick Kane earlier on? I think you're looking at maybe the next Johnny Gaudreau for the Flames. This is a guy you can build a team around, which I know I already used for Vancouver. A lot of Canadian teams need somebody to build around. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Hard. And I think it would look really good for that franchise to have somebody of that caliber on that team. Maybe you could go a little off the board and look at a Tynan Lawrence. I think he would be a really good option for the Flames. Get that star center that could anchor a top line like that. But I don't know. McKenna is the star name, and I think he has the ability to be just like that franchise face that the Flames haven't really had since Tkachuk left, really.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, the way they're looking right now, there's not a lot of guys that you could say will be big time leaders offensively in the future. They've got some young pieces and stuff like that, but McKenna would be a pretty big addition to the team. And I don't know. I guess they are in a rebuild, even though they have been kind of close to playoffs. Last year they were close to the playoffs. What they were tied. They almost made it. So I mean, they're still, all intents and purposes, they're in a rebuild. So having McKenna potentially going to have a top 3 pick here, to have him, that's a big deal for sure. All right, going to number 4, 4th overall, and the New York Rangers, another team that's really dropped, just like the Canucks. 2 teams that were two of the top teams not that long ago, actually, a couple seasons ago, and now they're both at the bottom of the league. So Rangers 4th overall, who are they going with?
Kind of what I said before about like the top defender coming down to Verhoff and Chase Reed, and I'm going against my own conventional wisdom too, where I typically go for the top forward in the OHL, but Chase Reed is just so hard to not to pass up on, considering that he had maybe that up and down World Juniors, but the skill set that he brings and the offensive impact that he has, the New York Rangers lack that high-end puck-moving, defender that has the ability to jump into the rush, jump into the cycle. He's very impactful. They do have Scott Morrow, which they got in that K-Andre Miller trade. But to me, Chase Reed has the highest upside and offensive potential. And the story that he's had to this point has just been absolutely amazing to see how he's progressed from an NAHL to the OHL to another stellar OHL season where he has 45 points in 39 games, basically 5 more points than what he had last year in the same amount of games as well. And the season's still going on too. So I just like the poise that he has, the confidence to jump into the rush, jump into the attack. At the many showcases that I see him in, he is making his presence felt offensively, and he's got a solid defensive game as well. I think that for an offensive defenseman where, that's his MO, he does have a lot of a defensive upside, or the awareness off the puck. He's very aggressive with it, but very aggressive without it. He can close lanes very well. He's got that going for him, and he's got that skill set already developing. So I want to see what he's going to be like in the near future, where he has that offensive upside and speed combined with that defensive game. And I think he'll be a good fit with the New York Rangers.
Yeah, again, the Rangers are a team in transition. You're looking at their defense it's on maybe a little bit on the older side. They don't have a guy Adam Fox, of course, he's still leading the way, but they're talking about Braden Schneider being traded. You're looking, Keandre Miller's already been traded. Chase Reed would be a big injection of youth and offense into that blue line in the future, and they do need, I think, that too. I mean, they do need prospects in general as well, but yeah, I think Chase would be a pretty good pick at 4. All right, Dayton, Winnipeg Jets, another Canadian team here, 5th overall, and they won the President's Trophy last year. And now they're potentially going to be drafting in a lottery pick here, unless they really turn their season around. But right now, they're 5th overall.
Yeah, the Winnipeg Jets need youth. They have such an old core right now, and I think that's primarily why they haven't been able to repeat this season. They just aren't adaptable. So I think when you are looking at giving a team some new life, you want to build from the center back. So do they go with a player who is currently playing at Boston University in Tynan Lawrence, or his future teammate in Caleb Malhotra, who's going to be there next season? Who, to me, it's a toss-up. I think at this point, I would go with Tynan Lawrence. He's just been rated higher than Malhotra at this point. That could definitely change. I think Lawrence is bringing a bit more of a well-rounded game, but both have, a little bit of a, work to do. You're not getting perfect, well-polished players at this point. But Lawrence is a better skater. He's a real hard worker, great two-way presence. Maybe you look at him as the heir to Mark Scheifele, right? One of the Athletic writers, he compared him to Matty Beniers. So like a top line two-way guy. I think that would be a really good player to build on. Malhotra is also a great option, and I don't expect him to hang out for too many more picks here. But yeah, we're going to go with Lawrence for the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, they do. I mean, their forward group, they've got a lot of talent right now, but a lot of them are in their 30s or getting there. I mean, they do need their prospect pool is pretty bare. I mean, they used to have a pretty good one, but then they're trading guys away. Rutger McGroarty they had to trade. They still have a pretty good. I mean, they still have some quality prospects, but anyone that really could take over as a top line center, I don't think they have in their system right now. And yeah, Tynan Lawrence, I think, would be a pretty good pick at this point of the draft. All right, let's just look at our picks here right now. We got the top 5: Ivar Stenberg, Keaton Verhoff, Gavin McKenna, Chase Reed, and Tynan Lawrence. So you got 2 defensemen, only the 1 center, and then a couple wingers in there. Peter, do you think is any surprise, this top 5, or could this be something that we see in July or in June?
Could very well be, and I get where Dayton was coming from. It's going to be a toss-up between Lawrence and Malhotra. They're very, very similar, but to me, I mean, I absolutely like Lawrence already making the jump to be Boston University right now. It is absolutely great to see him adapt. And again, I'm not going to focus too much on production right now, but he is holding his own right now. He's elevating and he is keeping up with the pace, and that's what you want to see. Mainly, the points will come eventually, even next year. I'm not too concerned about that, but to me, I would probably have Malhotra at the 5 spot. But then again, this is all just a mock draft anyway. And again, it's all personal preference. It's just I don't expect Malhotra to fall too far because he is definitely worth that top 10 selection. And again, it's a toss-up because they're very, very similar in all aspects. I think Malhotra maybe has a little bit more offside skill-wise, but that's just it.
Yeah. Dayton, what about this top 5? Is this a surprise, or could this be something we see?
I think right now this is kind of what we're expecting. I agree with Peter. Malhotra definitely could be in that number 5 spot, and I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up in that 5 spot, at least later on. I think just with where Lawrence is right now, he's probably my 5th guy. Chase Reed is probably going to be the 2nd defenseman off the board. And then the top 3 are going to be probably the top 3. I wouldn't expect that to change too much.
Yeah.
So some people have some interesting opinions from what I've read, which I'll leave it at that.
We'll see what the teams do. But so we'll continue our top 10 here. And that's the Chicago Blackhawks are up next. And Peter, they're having they're going to get another top 10 pick unless, again, they go on a bit of a run here. But they have the 6th overall pick in this one.
Yeah, again, I could surprise right now because I think they could use another D-man, and I've already picked 2 D-men for for the teams that I've picked here. But I'm going to play it safe. And as much as I would love for them to take Kayla Malhotra, they're already stacked up the middle. Bedard, Nazar can play center wing. You already got Anton Frondel. You got a number of center options, even when you go to bottom 6 possibilities. I think they're set up the middle. They don't have a true power forward type player that can go into the corners and help retrieve the pucks and alleviate some of that pressure off of the skill guys, kind of like Bedard. And I think they go Ethan Belchets here. He's already a good stat line, closing in on 30 goals, 45 points in 43 games with the Windsor Spitfires. And again, that's not to say that guys like Merrick Vanacker doesn't play that power forward game. He does, but I think with Belch's size, he just bullies and dominates in the tough areas, down the goal line, below the goal line, along the boards. And when he retrieves that puck, he is powering his way to the middle of the ice, and that can instantly open up many possibilities for him. A shooting lane, a passing option for Bedard, Frondel, Lardis, whoever's going to be on the other side for him to work with, even point shots. He can easily fend off players so well that you can't, again, we always mention you can't teach size, but he's got the skill set already down pat to go with that. So to me, with his hands, his speed for his size, the puck protection skills. It's just something so hard that the Chicago Blackhawks cannot pass up on it, and they get that player with that skill set to complement a lot of the other skilled players.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty big pick for him. I mean, fin size too, 6'5". He's a big guy. I think that's a Blackhawks pick as well. I think that's something that a guy could see them picking to really complement who they already have and who they might get. Even for trades, I don't know. There's been talk about different trades happening with the Blackhawks that could end up more veteran guys coming in. But yeah, I think if they do end up picking around here, Belchez would definitely be a good pick. All right, next up, Nashville Predators, another team that's really they were a good team not that long ago as well, and they're dropping again. Going to have a really good pick in this draft, 7th overall in this one. Who are they picking?
So I was just looking at their depth chart. They don't really have any big name stars coming up. Hey, like their biggest stars are already playing. You got Steven Stamkos, Ryan O'Reilly, and then Svechkov on their centers. You've got Philip Forsberg for their wingers. Luke Evangelista, at least a young guy. Joachim Kemmel. There's some young talent there. Defense, man. Okay, so Yossi is a year older than I am, and everyone's talking about like, oh, he's so old. Tanner Mollendijk coming up. I've been a big fan of him. Cameron Reed. No huge stars, I think, but a lot of guys who could be good. I mean, I think when we're talking about top 10 picks, we're talking about teams that need a lot of help. And the Predators need somebody that they can try to put into a first-line role. So I think, I was flip-flopping with him before. Let's go Caleb Malhotra. He is a center who can add that, really give that team some strong center depth. He's having a crazy good season in the OHL, on pace for 91 points, 34 goals. Like, he is developing into a real special player. Skating maybe could be a tiny bit better, but I think that's something that you could improve on, and you don't have to worry too much about it. Everything else, like he is a great player who does also have that two-way game. He's very hardworking. I know, Peter, you've been a huge fan of him already. I think he would make a great addition to that Nashville team that's working at, maybe you could say, retooling, even though they're doing a what are they picking? 7th overall?
Yeah.
Not really a retool anymore, but whatever.
Yeah. There's again the talk about trading Stamkos, trading guys like that, Ryan O'Reilly. Obviously Stamkos is going to be a guy that if he doesn't want to go, he's not going anywhere. But, you're looking at a team that's thought that they were going to maybe change right away with or not change, but be really good for a while, signing Stamkos, getting O'Reilly, getting all those guys, and just hasn't really worked out for them. And now they're kind of maybe transitioning into rebuild, retool, whatever teams want to call it these days. A lot of them don't want to say rebuild. They want to be in the retool stage. But yeah, Malhotra would definitely be a good pick to really bolster a prospect pool that isn't really strong. Like you said, it does have some good players. And Predators have done that in the past and been able to succeed with good players, but would be maybe get an elite top line guy too. All right, Peter, Washington Capitals, a team, again, they won the Eastern Conference last year, and they've gone on spurts. They're not really low. They could jump up, but right now they have this pick. So the 8th overall pick, who are they going with?
Yeah, kind of looking at their set of depth chart, I think you got a lot of potential up the middle of the ice, but they're kind of weak on the right side as well. And what better way than to go with a guy that can play either center or wing, and a guy that was just recently called up and promoted to the top line and centering the top line in your garden, and that's Viggo Bjork. I know that this is going to be a controversial pick, because a lot of scouting services have him a little bit lower because of that size factor. But you just see what he can do at the World Juniors, or what you saw at the World Juniors. He can play almost any situation that he's in, anywhere up and down the lineup, and still make an impact. He's got that offensive creativity, the deceptiveness with his playmaking, the ability to play on both sides of the puck. He's got great defensive awareness too. The offensive game is there. I think that maybe he didn't have the hottest start compared to maybe many were hoping, like they were with Stenberg. But again, two different trajectories and two different types of players. And Bjork is definitely that kind of player that can play in all situations. And even in the tough corners, he's not afraid to go up against opposition. Yeah, he may need to add a little bit more strength. That's probably something he needs to work on, but he shows no fear. He's relentless. And this is a guy that just dominated his age group, the last few seasons. So if I'm the Washington Capitals, yeah, you're kind of set up the middle, but you can use him on the wing. And then you already have a rising core of, Ryan Leonard, Ilya Protas, Alexei Protas, who's already Alexei Protas is already up in the NHL right now, but you already have his younger brother, Ilya. You got Milton Gastrin, you got Andrew Crystal, Eric Matejko, and now you throw in Viggo Bjork into the mix. There's a lot of great skill and different role players that you can utilize right there.
Again, the Capitals have a pretty strong prospect pool, even though they've been, in a playoff position around there for a while, and very underrated prospect pool, I think, too. Like we've said many times on this show, with Andrew Crystal and Cole Hudson coming up soon on defense. So I mean, they have a lot of good players, and Viggo Bjork would really add to it as well. And I could see him getting drafted in the top 10 for sure, especially after his World Juniors performance there. All right, Dayton, the New Jersey Devils, they're having a top 10 pick in this. I mean, they could fall out of it because, I mean, they're a lot of these teams, when they get to this point, because the Eastern Conference is so packed, they may not end up with the top 10 pick at the end here, but the Devils have it here. Where are they going?
I think they're actually pretty good up on their forwards. They've still got a lot of young talent that they should be more competitive, but injuries have ruined their season. And then inconsistencies, and just it's kind of been a mess. So maybe out of all of the teams that have picked so far, they are in the best situation. So I think they could use another key guy on defense, kind of like a Dougie Hamilton replacement, as he is very much rumored to be in the trade bait list right now. So which one of the top defensemen do you go with? There's a lot of great names. I think I'm going to go with Carson Karels. I liked him at the World Juniors. I thought he was pretty good. He didn't play a ton, but he was there. And there was definitely, other issues that Team Canada had to worry about, and he wasn't one of them. He is he's a pretty good skater. He's got a pretty good hockey sense, but just so competitive, and that your blue line is going to be okay when he is there, especially with the Prince George Cougars for this season. So I think there's a lot of good options here. I think right now I'd go Karels, but I mean, Albert Smits would be great. Daxon Rudolph is somebody I'd love to take at this spot, but I don't know if he's quite at that level. Ryan Lynn. Karels is my pick right now, but just like with Winnipeg, it could change, and I think it would still be probably a defenseman for the Devils.
Yeah, I mean, they do, of course, have a lot of young guys on defense, kind of leading, but they do have some aging guys too. So yeah, Karels would be a good pick, and their forward group is they have some really good players there too. In general, I think the Devils are pretty good prospect wise, and obviously they don't want to be picking in the top 10. They want to be playoffs, and I think they have a team that can definitely be there. But yeah, Karels would be a good pick. All right, Peter, last one of our top 10 here, the Boston Bruins. This was the Maple Leafs pick, which is just say you're getting this one. Unless the Maple Leafs jump into the top 5, they will have their pick. But at this point, it's the Boston Bruins. So who are the Bruins picking?
God, I hope Toronto makes it into the top 5 somehow. I actually would rather be picking a Montreal pick because that seems to be the whole MO whenever we do these mock drafts as well. So I gotta pretend like I'm in the mind of the Boston Bruins and not the Maple Leafs, because if I'm the Maple Leafs, I could be taking a whole lot of other options right now. I could go crazy and off the board because it fits Boston's MO and their, heavy, aggressive, tenacious forechecking style of play. Mm-hmm. Or I could go the safe bet. I already went crazy with the Keaton Verhoff one, so I'll leave it up to you guys if you guys want me to go crazy or safe.
Let's go crazy.
I'll go crazy? Okay.
Yeah.
I don't feel as crazy because he is listed number 10 on Elite Prospect and 11 on Cam Robinson's consensus. And this kind of fits the bill of what Boston wants to go. It's Oscar Hemming at Boston College. Again, it's kind of one of those stories where he was going to make the jump to the OHL. It didn't quite work out. There's a lot of issues with his Finnish club team. He tries to sign with the BCHL. It didn't work. If it did, then he would lose his eligibility to play internationally. So it's a whole issue, and he missed like a good chunk of the draft year, 2-3 months of playing no hockey. And he gets in the 6 games with Boston College right now, and he's just an absolute monster on the ice. He skates very well. He's got great speed. He literally has the ability to cut off angles, win battles. He does it all. He's got a lot of offensive potential and upside already that, it's kind of hard to pass up on, where he's already 6'3", or sorry, not looking at the wrong one. I was going with my safe bet. He's 6'4", 198, moves like the wind. He's got great hands. He's got great skill. And again, I just wonder what it would be like if he had a full season under his belt right now, where he is, definitely a first round pick, but is he top 20, top 15, top 10? And in a short sample size, he's looking like a top 10 prospect right now. I know I probably have him a little bit lower in my rankings. He just made the first round for me in my January rankings, but he's he's quickly moved up the board for me right now, where he could be in that top 10 to 15 range because of that skill set that he has. So, a little bit crazy. Again, I'm usually safe with these mock drafts. I'm just going out the board right now, but definitely something to look forward to, because Oscar Hemming does have a lot of upside and potential, and he's playing well despite the limited opportunities given contract-wise this season.
Yeah, he's really jumped up lately, and you're looking at even Gavin McKenna. I mean, he's really jumped up in the NCAA since the World Juniors, and been producing quite a bit. There's some of these NCAA guys might end up changing, with rankings and stuff like that as the season goes. As they get into their more competitive season with the tournaments and stuff going on, and national championships being on the line. It's going to be interesting to see how they kind of step up in those situations as well. All right. Well, there's our top 10, and we'll, it could end up changing with the standings and with the lottery, all that. But in our top 10 here, Dayton, I'll start with you. What do you think about this top 10?
I think it's fun. I think it's got a lot of interesting selections. I like Bjork at 8. That's a great maybe like off the board pick a little bit, because he is a smaller guy, but definitely deserves to be up there. Hemming into the top 10 is great. I think this is an interesting one. Maybe not. I think a lot could change. Mm-hmm. This feels very much like a temporary list of like, this is who's good right now. But it's also, like Peter mentioned, with college happening and some of those guys really taking off, we could see some massive swings coming up in the little in the next few months here. So I like it. I think this is a great list. I think it would help every team that is picking there. But I would imagine it to change quite a bit in the next little bit.
That's what's fun about this. It's our initial one. Peter, what are you looking at? How do you feel about this top 10?
a few things that I've taken note of over the last few drafts is kind of expect the unexpected. Like no one expected Beckett Seneca to go into top 3 until basically the day of the draft when Anaheim surprised everybody. Last year, a couple of even surprise picks, even later on in the first round too, a lot of swings. Kind of like Ben Kindle. Then again, he was kind of moving up a lot of draft boards as well, a little bit outside of the top 10, but a player that definitely has a lot of smarts and skill to be in that conversation. Same thing here, McKenna dropping just one spot. Who knows if that'll actually happen, but he is starting to play a little bit better with a little bit more consistency right now. That is going to bode well for him. And teams looking to see, is he just a one-trick pony? Is he just a power play merchant or a power play producer? And, when he's picking pucks off in the middle of the air and, going the other way, that's a skill set and awareness you want to see set in. Again, a lot of potential options that could move up or down. I was debating between Hemming and Smits with the Boston Bruins pick as well, because Smits definitely has the potential to be a top 10 pick. And if he has a great Olympic, that's going to go well for him, kind of like Yuri Slafkovsky. Again, usually I'm always on the safe bet of what's available or like in terms of like the projections. But you know what? This is one that could have a little bit more unpredictability as well, but with a lot of high upside potential picks.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys, of course, this first round. I mean, we're just 10 picks in. Of course, we'll do our full mock draft later on, closer to the draft, and a couple more before that as well. But yeah, this top 10, nice initial one as we get right into our draft coverage. Not going to be a lot more to come for sure with the mock drafts. A lot of our other videos we'll be doing. Our next one, we're going to do a bit of a debate between different types of players, and we will, of course, do our first overall pick debate of who should actually be first overall. We did kind of do that with Stenberg and McKenna, but we'll add in a few other names in there as well. But we'll do that next time. Thanks, Dayton. Thanks, Peter, for coming on, as always, talking prospects, talking the draft, and our first mock. Make sure you're checking out everything at thehogbears.com. We got great prospect content throughout the site, of course. And then as we keep going, our draft coverage will ramp up not that long from now, probably in a month or a bit time here. There's going to be tons of content on the site. There is already quite a bit, actually, features that some writers have already written. Of course, Peter, your rankings already out there, so check those out. But until our next episode, we will see you next time.